Well, hello everybody. Look what we've resorted to, video. Maybe this is the way things will go in the future. Um, I do miss being in front of you all. I do miss being able to have conversations with you. But hey, that's where we are. I hope you are all well. I hope you're all home working hard and learning well and supporting each other throughout this difficult process. This will be a short video. It won't be the whole options evening, and you'll see as I cut through some of the slides that we'll do tonight. But the whole idea of this is just to give you an insight as to what you need to do now when you start to select your options for next year. But firstly, two things. One, I hope you are well. I sincerely hope you are well and you're keeping well and you're keeping your families well and you're all supporting each other. Secondly, with this options process, you do not worry. You don't worry at all. You will make some decisions. Those decisions will keep revisiting to make sure that you're in the right place. We have some flexibility. Some people tend to do their Key Stage 4 across years 10 and 11. We start a year earlier, not that we will have less work to do, but it's that we give you the skills and the discipline that you need to get the GCSEs done properly. So we'll cover some of that this evening. So are you ready? This is how we do our options together. To begin with, let me introduce someone to you. This is Jacob. Jacob is my boy. It's a few years old, this, but back then, all he wanted to do was play football. He played football every Saturday, every Sunday, and all he wanted to do in life was football. Then came his Cubs. He liked Cubs. He liked Scouts. They do exciting things. So when he came to football and Scouts, football would normally win. Then came school. But you have to do school. You have no choice but to do school. He wasn't too hot on school, but you know, there are some things you just have to do. He used to do karate, he used to do swimming, he used to do drums, he used to play the trumpet, piano. It got to the point where at some time he needed to decide, if I want to play things properly, I need to let other things go. And that's more or less where you are now. There are things, if you want to go into greater depth, there are things you have to let go. But also, there are things you just have to do, like Jacob does with school. I want you to be sure that when we go through this process, we are not talking about you in year 9. We're talking about your entire Key Stage 4 success, which leads into your Key Stage 5 success, which will then lead on to whatever path you want to take, be it university, and a vast number of our students do go to university, but you can go through apprenticeships, you can go into employment, all those things we will map out for you continuously as you go through the next key stage. We have a plethora of very successful young people. I hope you can see on that slide exactly how happy they are, because that to me is the number one thing. We want to get you through this. It's not an easy process. Obviously, GCSEs aren't easy, but you'll be happy. You'll be well supported. So that could be you, me showing this in another slide next year. Okay, just to begin with, I've talked so far about GCSEs, but that's just me being historically incorrect. It's not all about GCSEs. Nowadays, there are many secondary qualifications that you can go for. There are GCSEs, there are technical awards, and there are BTECs that we offer. All of these hold the same amount of weight, certainly if you want to move on to things from sixth form and into university. They all carry the same kind of weight, although they are slightly different in substance, and I'll go through that a little bit as we go through. Now, all these slides will be available underneath the YouTube clip that I'll be put on now, so you can have a look at these in greater detail as we go through. Something else you're going to hear quite a bit about is the English Baccalaureate. Now, the English Baccalaureate, or known as the EBAC, this is not a qualification in itself, so you don't get awarded the English Baccalaureate. This is something particular to schools who are judged on how many of their students have achieved the English Baccalaureate. Now, some schools, because of that judgment, they will make you do an EBAC subject. We will not. You are not expected to do an EBAC. Some of you will be encouraged to do an EBAC, mostly because you have the qualification background that may feel it's better courses for you. There may be better courses for you to do, but you're not expected to do an EBAC. But when we talk about EBAC, the EBAC is everyone will need to have English, maths, science, history or geography, and a language. In there, history and geography is computer science as well. So with those, and you'll see on the screen there, that gives you an idea of what it is to have an EBAC subject. But like I said, some of you may makes choices through your options form, and we will come back to you. If we think you should be following an EBAC, if you are wanting to do things in years to come, which is medicine or those higher academic subjects, and you would be encouraged at this point to consider gaining the EBAC. Okay, what are you doing next year? You will be doing core subjects. This will make up quite a bit of your timetable. Your core will be RE, English language, English literature, your maths. Those 4 subjects straight away will fill up a quarter of your timetable. You'll also have your sciences, and I'll talk about science in a second. And on top of those core, you'll all have PE, and you'll all have some form of citizenship. They are the non-negotiables. Those are things you just have to do. Now, with the science, let me explain what's going to happen with science. There are 2 options with science. One is you can do the trilogy science, and they talk about 3 sciences, the biology, chemistry, and physics. That's trilogy science, and you study them together, and at the end of your GCSEs, you end up with 2 GCSEs in trilogy science. That's the standard route you will take. Some of you will also want to do the triple science route, which is the equivalent to 3 GCSEs, and they are separate: physics, biology, and chemistry. Now, with those 2, you are not being asked to choose which one you want to go down. We will tell you and we will guide you through that. You don't need to make that decision till halfway towards the end of year 10, when the science education begins to split. And some of you will then maintain your double science, while then others will go off and do the triple down. It's the same subject matter, but obviously the triple science is in greater depth. We will be keeping an eye on your academic attainment over the 3 years. Those of you who are keeping a high grade level all the way through, you will be invited to do the triple science, and it will be an invitation. You might not want to choose it, because the big question is it better to have 2 grade 7s in science or 3 6s? I'm not sure the answer, but I would tend to go with the greater success. So we will keep an eye on that together. And when you get towards the end of year 10, we will have a conversation with those who we will be thinking about should be moving to triple science, and then we'll make those decisions then. Okay, so this is what you need to do to make your options. Number 1, you need to read the options booklet. It's underneath. Please read the options booklet. Once you've had a look at all the subjects that are available to you, you'll see that the core ones are a different color. So those ones you have to have anyway. The rest of them, you'll be choosing 3 out of those within 3 blocks. And I'll show you those in a short while. Once you've looked at as many subjects as you've done, get yourself a short list. Then you need to choose one of these 3 blocks. So block A, art and design, Chinese, drama, geography, health and social care, history, sociology, or Spanish. Now, the idea with the blocks is that if you think about your timetable, all those times in your timetable will be filled with RE and PE and PSHE, all that kind of stuff. There'll be blocks for your option choices. So A will appear, and those subjects will be taught at A. Then you have B, and you'll need to choose one of those subjects. And then you'll have C, and you choose one of these. Let me move myself up there. So these are the subjects on offer. These are called option choices. But can I just remind you, although we call them option choices, they are not optional. They're not something that you can choose to take or not. You need to have 3 subjects because you need to have a full timetable. Now, all this is in your book. And once you've decided your 3 subjects that you want to do within those 3 blocks, so 1 from each block, once you've done that, then you'll need to choose 2 others, any 2 others. What we will do with them then is we will hold those as reserves. We'll also try and give you a flavour of those other subjects at some point between September and November, maybe early November, so that we make sure that we really are in the correct option choice. And then after that initial phase, then we'll start locking you in and getting you focused particularly on the GCSE subject matter. You won't be missing out content because we spend the first number of weeks in year 9 giving you the skills that you need to do your GCSEs properly. and those skills are transferable. So please don't worry about the content you'll be covering, because we'll be looking particularly at gaining the skills for successful GCSE work. Okay, so your one subject from each block, and then any other two. Once you have your 3 subjects and your any other 2, then you go to our school website. You should be there on this page unless you're looking via YouTube. And you go to our options online form. You'll click the application form. You need to enter with your school email address and the passcode that has been sent to your school email address. Now, the passcode is not your school password. Please don't use your school password. It's a dedicated code. If you don't get the code right, it won't let you in. So once you've got in, you'll choose on the form your initial 3 from the block, your 2 additional, job done. Okay, I won't go too much into the next number of slides. I'll leave this for you to do. And like I've said before, the PDF of these slides are below. This gives you a little bit of introduction on top of what's already in the booklet about each and every subject. Okay, so like I said, I wouldn't talk through the individual subjects. I think there is so much you can gather from the slides. You can look at them yourself, and from the booklet that I'm really encouraging you to read. There's a lot of work put into that, and that's been designed by the heads of each subject, of the subjects you'll be studying. Now, as you go through your GCSEs and your BTECs and your technical award qualifications, we'll keep an eye on you. We'll check your monitoring very, very carefully. Some of you who are doing exceptionally well in your academics will be pushing you towards the top end. Some of you may be struggling, and if you're struggling, don't worry, because what we'll be doing with you is starting you off with approximately 10, sometimes even 11 GCSEs you're studying. You don't need them all. Sometimes if you are studying, you just need to come away a little bit. So we have something which we offer in year 10, which is called curriculum support, where you will be relieved of your most challenging subject, and we will put additional time into things such as your maths, English and science and RE and all those. So this is something we keep an eye on all the way through. We discuss with parents at parents' evening if we think it's liable, but we make sure you're successful. And if it means we reduce your timetable slightly of academic subject to give you more time and scope to deal with the academic rigor that's expected of these exams, then that's what we do. So if you hear us talking to you over the years about curriculum support, that's what it means. You'll look at this sheet. This has got 8 what we call buckets. What it means is you're really accountable on 8 subjects. So although we're teaching you 10, 11 at times, you really do need 8 as a basic. So we have that facility to be quite flexible with you. All right, so your timetable next year will be made up of your core subjects and your 3 subject choices. A little word of warning, we'll only be able to run the courses that have sufficient people in them. We also will have courses which will have 50 people applying for them, and we have 1 class. So no matter what it is you hand in, there is always, always, always some scaffolding and changing done once all the applications have been received. So please don't think for a second that once I've handed my options in, that's it. Some of you will clearly make some mistakes, or we will see things online which we could guide you further. So please be aware that once you've handed your form in, there will be some changes afterwards. If you're choosing 2 practical subjects, you can do it, but be very, very wise about it, because practical subjects is a lot of work. So please be aware that if you're taking art and fashion, for example, you're doing an awful lot of coursework there. Again, if you do make those decisions, we will come back to you and guide you through it a bit more. You cannot choose both art and photography, because the real terminology is art and design and art and design photography. So they actually are the same qualification in essence. So therefore you can't be awarded the same qualification twice. Things to consider. I've already said, depending on variable sizes, there are some combinations which are problematic due to timetabling. I've done that bit. Does behavior matter? Behavior always matters. Playtime is over. Please be aware, serious times now, you're getting into qualification material, and so therefore it needs your 100% attention. And I've done this, only 1 point between art. Now this lovely chart shows you a little bit about what happens in the summer of your exams. For those of us older school, or those of us who are used to A stars to Cs, you can see on that chart that the old structure, A stars to Cs, where there are 4 grades, is now 6 grades, from 9 to 4. And that still is the same way. They haven't changed that over the past 4 years. You can also see in the grid next to it the distribution of those grades. So if you look at the number of year, sorry, start that again. If you look at the number of grade 9s that have been given in any year, it actually equates nationally to about 3%. So 3% of all the students in the country get grade 9s, and then you can see most people get between 3 and 7. So that will be the distribution at the end of your summer exams. So there are questions you can ask. This is where they're expecting emails from you. If you have any questions, I suggest you go to your form tutor or your subject teacher or your head of year. I put my name deliberately on the end of there because I know I'm a little bit harder to get hold of at times, but by all means email me and I'll try and get back to you as soon as I can. There is a deadline for your options form, and that will be the 15th of May at 4 p.m. If you wish to bypass the deadline, then you'll go at the end of the list. We have to start placing people as soon as possible. But complete it as and when you're ready. It's not first come, first serve, but we won't look at it until the end of Friday the 15th. Okay, how do you make the right choices? You do have to choose something you're going to enjoy. If you hate the subject, that's going to stop you over the next 3 years. But you also need to consider how successful you will be. Some people feel they may need to go down the academic route only. Those are the older days. Now they want you to have a broad and balanced curriculum. So now you need to have a curriculum which is really shaped to show the true skills that you have. If you are a bookworm and like your books, choose ones that way. If you are creative, choose ones that way. You are supposed to have a timetable which is broad and balanced. So please choose something you'll enjoy and be successful in. Have a think about what you want to do at sixth form. So also underneath, you'll see the sixth form prospectus. Have a look at the courses that we're offering this year to give you a flavour of the kind of things you could be getting involved in. What are you doing after sixth form? Have you got any ideas for that? And don't think you need to have them either. If you have no idea what you want to do in the future, that's okay. In fact, that's quite healthy. You're 12, 13 years old. Don't put too much pressure on yourself about thinking what you want to do in life. But it's good to have options, and it's good to start steering towards a specific field, whether it's creative or academic or both. So have a think about that one. Do I have a good balance of subjects? How will I cope with the assessment? And that refers mostly to the practical elements that I spoke to you about earlier. Will I be able to work in a group or attend rehearsals, practices or tournaments? And what will be my reserve choices? What are those other 2 subjects I've asked you to do? Now, I don't believe I have to write this on a form, but I do. Please don't do it because your friend is going to do the same subject. You have no idea whether you'll be in the same class. It doesn't always work that way. And don't do it because you like the teacher. You have no idea if you're going to get that teacher. Please don't do it because you think it's going to be easy. This is a qualification. They are built to challenge you. And don't rush into your decision, and certainly don't worry about it, because like I said, this is part of a journey and we'll work that journey with you. So, move myself again. Once I've decided, then what? Well, you get yourself ready. If you know what you're going to be doing in September, you can do some background reading. There is a plethora of material out there of stuff that you can start to explore. In the book, you'll see the exam boards that are being covered. Have a look at the exam boards, see the kind of content you're going to be getting. Now, SPAG is more important than ever. Spelling, punctuation, grammar. You need to practice that. It's more important than ever. 3-4 years ago, it was 5% of exam. Now it can be up to 20%. It's more about what you are learning, not what you are doing. So if you go home one day and the parent says, what have you learned today? You can't say, I did a map. You have to explain what you are learning and what's the purpose of that learning. And also think about the skills that are required for a successful Key Stage 4. Are you organized? Are you disorganized? Do you have a timetable? Do you have a system in place to get you really successful in your studies? Now, I can tell you that in your mind, you think it's going to be that number one picture, that your plan will be nice and easy. The reality is it really isn't. You'll just get going and all things will start going all over the place, but you will be well supported. So what I offer you is this guidance. You need to get the right mindset. There's a lot of research about mindset, and Carol Dweck, who did this book, has come up with the conclusion that mindsets can be grown. Intelligence can be grown. It's not something which you're smart and you're not. You can grow your intelligence. So if you just look at this example, you can see here on the left that the person with a fixed mindset will tend to avoid challenges and give up easily, where the person with a growth mindset will embrace these challenges and start to persist constantly. You can see how the green starts to grow as you go on through. And I'm going to encourage you to have a growth mindset as you hit your GCSEs. This poster is also going to be below, so you can print that off. And I ask parents, stick it on your fridges. Every time any of your daughters say to you, I'm going to do it, you point to this and you make sure they get a growth mindset. This bit's vitally important. You cannot stop reading. Just have a look at these quotes for 1 second. Now, this is academic research. So, dear year 8s, get your head out your screens and get your face in a book, okay? Get yourself reading, keep that literacy skills right up there. So now what? Now you should be knowing what you're doing. You need to get thinking about the kind of course you want to do. Have a look at that booklet, study it well, do some further research, and then choose your 3, 1 from each block. Once you've done your 3, pick 2 from anywhere, upload them onto the website, and your bit is done. Just to conclude, you'll also see below our prayer card. Every year our prayer card is published, and it is for those who are going into year 9. So I'd like to pray with you just to conclude my session this afternoon. Please, Lord, help me to find a way you want me to go. I know you love me and have great plans for me, but sometimes I'm overwhelmed by the thought of my own future. Show me how to walk forward one day at a time. May I have the courage to search openly, learn about my choices, listen to others for advice, and pay attention to my own feelings. Lord, give me the grace to listen to you as you lead me to where you are calling me to be. And I hope you know that we are praying for you, that we are missing you, and we hope to see you back in school very soon. Good luck with this process, and do not hesitate to contact your tutor, your head of year, or myself, or Miss Pick, and we will guide you further as you make your choices for September. All the very best. Bye-bye.